Okay, team. Hope everybody's having a good evening. I'm Khepresh. Welcome to the Millionaire Crew Club meeting on the fate of automation and future work in America and all over the world. So before we begin, I would just like to read the Millionaire Crew Club creed. It states, "May nothing disturb my peace of mind. I speak prosperity and health and happiness. I make all my friends feel that there is something worthwhile in them. I think only of the best. I work only for the best. I expect only the best. I learn from the mistakes of the past, press on to achieve a greater future. I am too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble." So I salute you all for coming out this evening and going right in. Automation and the future of jobs. Okay, somebody else, this is good. So what is automation, right? So we have to kind of know what something is. So automation, the definition I turned and found that which I thought fit the scenario was automation is a term for technology applications where human input is minimized. This includes business process automation, BPA, IT automation, personal applications such as home automation, and more. So the questions for discussion for tonight, here they are, is our community prepared to deal with such automation? How will this affect the youth in the future? Has this already affected you? And how can we capitalize off of this dynamic term that's ahead of us? So this is all open for discussion. Let me take that out. Boop, bring this up. Bear with me, people. But let me stop the share. So, what's going on? I know you work in the postal business. How's automation affecting you guys? Or you gotta unmute yourself, E. Hold on, let me see.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Ken.
Okay. Yeah, automation, as you know, I drive the trucks and stuff, so I mostly deliver the parcels. I wouldn't say it affects my line of work per se. It did years ago where they created a DPS system. So, the computer kind of sorts it out pretty much and cuts down the amount of sorting that the carrier has to do. I think that was back in the 90s though, but as far as contemporarily right now, it doesn't really affect us per se in our field of industry or whatever.
Okay.
But automation overall, globally, oh, definitely.
But do you feel it's coming to your field though at some point?
No, it will. It definitely will. You definitely will. I can foresee that. Maybe I would say approximately, probably another 10 years or so. You know what I'm saying?
How many jobs you think would be affected by that? I guess that's my ultimate question. Like, if you had to do it by percentage, like out of the different positions that you know of in your field.
I would say 35 to 40% approximately.
Wow.
And I'm speaking as a 28-year veteran. You know what I'm saying? So I've been around for a while.
Right.
So yeah, I can see that, especially with the new postmaster that we have, the Joy in there. He's just running amok. So he's just he's in that automated field and he has ulterior motives, if you will. So yeah, I can see that happening.
Okay. Wow. That's deep, 40%. And when we think of postal service, how many like black and brown people you think that would affect?
A large percentage, a huge percentage. Out of 660,000 postal employees,
Right.
nationwide, I would say we make up, mainly us and the Asians, I would say we make up about maybe 62 to 64%. It's a large percentage, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
A lot of families that's not going to eat.
that's not gonna eat. Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, yeah, I appreciate that. I'll come
Mhm.
back to you about some other stuff.
Mhm.
Ashanti, what's going on? How you feel? Have you been affected by automation? I'm gonna just go. E, just mute your screen. E.
Okay. Okay.
All right, cool.
No, not directly.
Not directly. Do you know anybody affected by it? Say.
Not at this moment, no.
Okay, that's cool. That's a good thing because I know you do. Like you do outside the box work. So
Hmm.
your work is not necessarily constructed around like a corporation trying to save its profits,
Yeah.
possibly, or that profit save that they do with the machine. So okay, that's cool for sure.
Yeah.
I'll come back through to you, Ashanti.
Okay.
Khadija, what's going on?
Peace.
Peace. Um, has automation affected your work or the work that you were doing? I guess that's my question.
No, it hasn't. Mine is was based off physical delivery, so it hasn't affected mine yet.
Okay,
Transportation.
so you're doing like trucking and transportation.
Correct.
All right. I was reading an article and cool, Khadija. I was reading an article in Forbes maybe like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and they were stating that since they brought in the Tesla truck, so it's almost like the Tesla car in the trucks are the test model for future like 18 wheelers. And I'm
Yes.
not saying that and I'm not saying that Tesla is going to create the 18 wheeler per se or have anything in a production. I'm just saying it just seemed like when I was reading an article, I'm gonna try to find it and post it in the Millionaires Crew Club group, of course. But it was either in Forbes or Bloomberg. It's one of those. And they were just stating how they're seeing how they were streamlining how the cars move, like with the electronics. And
Mhm.
so instead of having people on the road, they're trying to get it where people just load the stuff and then the truck just basically drive itself until it gets to the person that needs to unload the truck. Have any of y'all heard about that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I read about it too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I also heard about it.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna blow up a lot of jobs. That's gonna kill like a lot of our brothers and sisters get into trucking because you're your own boss or what have you, especially when they come out of prison. Paul said, because when they go through the prison, I forget the name of the program, but they go through that particular program, and like barbers and truckers is one of the programs that they use. That is going to kill. They're talking about article I was reading anyway said they feel they can cut human contact with the trucks by 60 to 70%.
That's tough.
That's murderous. That but they're saying that's like 10 to 15 years in the making. So we're in 2021. Let's just say we see the first one in 2034, the first official test run. That's going to be rough. That's definitely going to be rough. So they're talking about crushing the trucking industry. So I'm thinking like, okay, so if you have anybody that is doing truckings and got their CDLs, make sure that they know they might have to make what I call this time the divine pivot, right? Like, so everybody got to find a different pivot because you either going into retirement, like my brother E here, like he's been there for 28 years. Things go too crazy. Probably like I give it another 2 years. I'm out. I set sail into the sunset. Perfectly fine. But for like younger people, 20s, 30s, that are still looking to have that career, that is something they definitely gonna crack down on because they're talking about not giving out like a pension for the trucking company because you wouldn't really be working like that. You'll be doing more like a like the food cart thing that, you know, like the app we got, like that delivery, like it's just kind of like you bing and then you can pick up the truck and then go finish off the delivery type of thing. It's crazy, crazy. So I want to discuss with each of you, just make a statement of how do you think automation is going to affect the youth, especially our youth? How do you, because, you know, we're already, our youth to a degree is already in an uproar just due to society, and other environmental things, lack of strong, consistent male and female standards and music and everything else that they're bombarded with. But how do you think for the kid that just wants the summer job at McDonald's, at Burger King, at KFC or whatever, or some other place, how do you think this automation would affect them?
You
Hello?
muted. Eric, I see, look, he's talking, but I think you're muted.
Oh, Eric, hold on. We gonna go down the list. We gonna go Eric,
Oh,
Khadija,
sorry.
Ashanti. How about that?
Can you
Okay,
hear me
that's
now?
cool.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so my son is 19 now. Since he was 11, I always pumped being an entrepreneur, being an innovator in his mind, and he's leaning in that direction right now. I'm trying to get him situated so that automation that I already know is coming down the line does not affect him. I'm hoping that I'm trying to get him into a trade school. He has a good mindset of the stock market. He has his little music thing that he's pursuing, but that automation is definitely going to affect the youth down the road if they don't have a skill or they're not able to provide something to the society to create a passive income for themselves. Um, I'm 46, so it's a whole different world right now, as you can see with everything that's happening around us. So for the youth, we definitely have to find something that's going to merge into that automation lane because we don't control the economy, someone else does. So to merge into this economy and make them relevant in this economy, understanding the automation that's coming down the line, it takes a lot of critical thinking and it takes a lot of minds to come together to be able to understand what we're in the middle of now, what they're planning, like what you said with the Tesla trucks 10 to 15 years down the line, and what the solution is. Yeah, I think that's how I see it right now with the youth.
Cool, King. I appreciate that. Khadija?
Okay, sorry, I got to bear with me. I'm moving around. Honestly, I would, if it was me, because I'm already, since I'm doing transportation, I would start trying to figure out a way to have passive income. Because I'm not gonna be able to depend on it. Obviously, if they have Tesla trucks on the road, I'm gonna lose my job. I can't depend on one income, so I'd have to be passive. I mean, find other sources of income, diversify it some type of way.
Right, but I'm talking about as far as the youth. How do you think the automation is affecting them?
Oh,
The
I'm
generation.
sorry, y'all cut out. Okay, how it affects the youth?
Right.
Oh, that's gonna affect them tremendously. They're gonna have to find like the gentleman said earlier, a trade, something that can't be done by automatic ways.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Khadija. Shanti.
I definitely see how it can affect the youth. Like for an example, you mentioned that a lot of youth get like fast food jobs or cashier jobs, working in supermarkets, you name it. And from what I'm seeing, from it seemed like it sped up even faster during the pandemic. For an example, the Walmart that's close to me, the ShopRite that's close to me, the Walmart went from having about 6 to 7 self checkouts and 10 to 15 cashiers. It went down to 2 cashiers, and the remainder of the whole full store is all auto checkout. Like you have to check yourself out with only one person at the door. They barely even have security. It's less people on the floor. The supermarkets have also went down to maybe 2 to 3 actual cashiers, and the rest is self checkout. So you have youth that's looking just to work at a supermarket, that's pretty much is almost cashier jobs, maybe almost out. Um, you have a lot of warehouse jobs. If they want to get warehouses, they don't even really need anyone for like forklift, because now they have machines. You just put in the aisle, it just goes down the aisle, takes the stuff off the shelves. So I see in the making a lot of jobs that the youth will be looking for will be basically just machines. So, just like Eric mentioned, like my daughter just recently graduated from high school, and due to the fact of her witnessing, me being in business, that's something that's a road that she wants to go down. So, it's about teaching our kids how to be self-sufficient, self-sustainable, but also paying attention to the times. You can't just be focused on what my job is today, because some people really don't like what they do anyway. And right now they don't know what the next move is. You should always be thinking about what your next move is. You should always be seeing if your window of opportunity is closing in, and it's time for you to jump with the times and think of something different. So it's basically about teaching our kids to pay attention to the signs, pay attention to the windows, know when to move, know when not to settle. Because right now, they may not be at a job for 25, 30 years like we are. Now, they're going to have to always be thinking outside the box.
Yep.
And just those little jobs for like teenagehood is being replaced. So it's kind of like Eric mentioned about, finding a trade. But, we're talking about for like the youth before they even get out of high school.
Right.
We need to really, it's now it's like I'm trying to figure out what can they do. Now that's when business owners are going to just have to hire the youth to do odd jobs to just make money, because they clearly are being replaced.
Yeah, I was reading something, and it stated that the way Walmart was designed, the idea was to completely cut human cost in the beginning. It was not really okay, meaning you've seen how many cashier lines it was at Walmart. Remember, you go to any Walmart, there's like 20, 30, it was like 20 cashier lines. But how many cashiers were there ever in at the line?
Maybe 5 or 6.
Boom. That was the test run. They actually been test running to prepare for self-checkout. So you can open up the space, and then you can have 2 people or 1 person, and then everything else is, and that way you can do a program like, hey, come work for us. We'll send you to college to get another thing. You don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay here at Amazon. We'll send you to college to learn something. What company wants to do that for a remedial job, for a stockroom worker? The two don't make sense. And what don't make sense mean there was always another plan to minimize health insurance, to minimize the ability to write taxes off, to minimize the ability for actual like human interaction, right? So with that being done, I guess one of our homework assignments, we can always talk about it another time, but this is something we need to write down. What are we're going back to like the Booker T. Washington days when he was like, yo, we all need trades. We all need to do, all black people need to do is work with their hands. But we definitely need to figure out what our future youth, our 13-year-olds, our 14-year-olds, our 15-year-olds, our 16-year-olds are going to do. Because it seems, if I had to guess, it's just me, if I had to do an educated guess of what I'm witnessing in the street right now, if we think there's mayhem now, people running down on people in restaurants while you at brunch, it's about, I'll give it another 5 to 7 years. We probably won't be like, if me and Eve was just at Brooklyn Chop eating up outside, young brothers jumping out on us, robbing us. I wouldn't be shocked at that. I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't, because when you completely I don't know if this was one of the reasons for the pandemic, but I do know one thing. When you have the opportunity to cut something off at the kneecap, ain't no better time but the present to implement things that forces people in the corner. And who's the lowest group on the totem pole? Right here, we might not be low on the totem pole. Okay, that's cool. We unicorns. All right, everybody in the M.C.C, you're a fucking unicorn. That's awesome. And I'm glad you're here so we can fly through the sky and spread rainbow sprinkles of green money around. But outside of us, an everyday person, it's like it's like an encavement happening, like a self prison, right? I don't want you at a movie theater. I don't want you at a restaurant. You can't make ends meet. You have to stay home. You have to stay in your community. We flood you with more drugs and more guns, more lethal drugs and better equipment guns. More people. All right, we're going to send more people out of the jail. So who cares if they finish their terms? Let's just send them back to like East New York. Let's send them back to like Queensbridge. Let's send them back to like Newark. Let's let them out.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's like, the Boondocks episode with that energy that Stink Meaner had, like it's just building and brewing. And to be honest, I wanted to have, because after watching the PBS, I don't know if all of you got to see all the videos. Because after I posted video 1, video 2, I watched both of those the same day I posted them in our chat room. And then what I wanted to do was go back and grab clips to add to this presentation that I thought was like, because video 1 and 2 was like, it was like mind blowing.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I didn't, when I was about to log on, I saw that you had put 3 videos, but I didn't get to see the videos. So each video, how long are they?
They were about 50 minutes.
50 minutes each. When did you post them?
Hold on. I'll tell you. What I was saying, they took the best 2 videos down. Video 1 and video 2 is not on the internet no more.
So,
they're washed.
Oh, okay.
They washed. Khadija hit me up. She was like, yo, trying to watch the videos. This was like 4 or 5 days after I posted. I was like, what are you talking about? They up. She was like, nah, they ain't up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's weird, because those first 2 videos had me like this. I was up to like, oh, we need to store food. We need to like really prepare. Like I was like,
it's really bad. You see what you said? You see what you said earlier about them releasing the prisoners? They're going to release so many inmates from Rikers, and you see a lot of the police officers. I would say about 65% of them are not going to take that shot. So a lot of them are planning to resign. I know a lot of them. So you're going to have complete mayhem on these streets. And, going back to the youth now, a lot of us have teenagers or children in their early 20s, and we're trying to figure out how to merge them into this lane in this economy that we don't control. And so when you're talking about automation, when you're talking about the pandemic, when you talk about mom and pop shops and just basic labor being outsourced, and you see Walmart, Target, and Amazon being the main companies that's going to exist, and how much money they made in the last 22 months to 23 months, they made billions, hand over fist. Is this a coinky dink? I'm just quote unquote. And so now we're in the middle of the most polarizing topic, and I won't go into the topic, and you know what the topic is.
Right.
With our youth on our backs, looking for guidance from us. And this is something that we haven't seen in 100 years. So here we are now as melanated people, disenfranchised. We don't control the economy, you know, as Black men. And so it's our job to provide and protect. And, you know, power don't earn money, power print money. So
Right.
whoever controls the land, airspace, water space, raw materials get to dictate the narrative. And here we are trapped in the middle of this narrative, trying to find our seeds that's coming behind us into power. And I don't want to hand down my son's failure, and none of us should want to hand down our children that neither. So it's good to have these dialogues with open minds and critical thinkers to create a think tank and to try to, if it doesn't happen in our generation, it happens in 2 generations down the line. Because we know nothing doesn't, these people that control this, oligarch that control this, this didn't happen overnight. This was a process. So for us to get out of this, for our children to get out of this is going to be another process. And these walls are closing in rapidly. I mean, this vehicle is gaining traction. I mean, they're about to blow a head gasket. It's blowing down the strip so fast. And here we are witnessing, those of us who are aware. And, you know, when you're talking about finances, this symbol of exchange that makes people around you agree to barter with you. Because we're still in the barter system. It's just indirect barter with a unit of exchange being created back in 1913, then the credit system coming in, and et cetera. And here we are now trying to figure it out. With all due respect, a lot of our elders, they gave us the best that they could, but a lot of them don't really understand economics. They just day to day with it, you know what I'm saying? And so it's really on us, those of us who are in the 40s, 30s, 20s coming, you know, that generation, the hip hop generation, right? It's really for, you know, even though we have our dysfunction, we also have our rebellion where we see what the elders don't see, you know, and you come from Professor Smalls, we discussed this many years. So do I come from Reverend Phil Valentine. I come from all of those school of thoughts, but at the end of the day, what good is that knowledge if we can't apply it? So here we are trying to find ways to apply all this data and information to pass it on to the next generation. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, hey, check it. I posted that September 28th.
September 28th, okay.
September 28th. You know, I'll be on it. I'll be like, oh, this is good. So the first video was called, so if somebody can find it, write down the title because it's still up. Because I couldn't find it. It was completely washed off the internet. And if you find it, please post it in the M.C.C room. First video is called Future of Work, Episode 1, The New Industrial Revolution. PBS.
Repeat the ending. I heard you say Future of Work, Episode 1. Then what you say after that?
Future of Work, Episode 1, The New Industrial Revolution.
I'm actually go downtown to PBS.
PBS. Hold on. What did you say, Khadija?
I said, I'm pretty sure PBS station is downtown South End where I stay. So if I'm able to go in and ask them, I'll try and see if they give me any information.
That'd be dope, actually. That'd be dope. So now video 2, which was even like wilder than video 1. This is what I'm saying. Like I was watching this going like, oh, this ain't good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, this ain't good. Like my brain was like, this is not good. So now video 2, Future of Work, Episode 2, and it's called Future Proof.
Future Proof.
That's when they were showing the robots like this.
Oh yeah, the order, yeah.
Delivering love.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. Never seen anything like this before. It was really like, it wasn't like that step toward Terminator, how people try to express it, but it was really like a community. Like Episode 2 was discussing like all of the systems, it seemed, was like interconnected, like a web.
A web.
Like a web of thought. Like every machine knew what every machine was doing at like, or I was like, So like human interaction. So basically episode 1 was showing where we're going. Kind of like
Mhm.
we're in a whole new different industrial fray. Because think
Mhm.
about it. Every wave that comes through, if we study history though, check this out. Because the principles stay the same,
Mhm.
right? So I didn't know by watching this where this meeting was going, but I knew after I watched it, I was up to like where we got to drive this conversation. Because the
Mhm.
principles stay the same. What happened during the mechanical industrial change that our grandparents went through? Stock market crash, all that other stuff,
Mhm.
right? Crazy
Mhm.
inflation happened.
Yeah.
Brought into the credit system happened. Like everything happened literally in like a 15-year period.
Yep.
10-year, actually no, maybe 5 to 8 year period. It was just like right before their eyes. And they ain't have no computers and nothing. And then our people were already behind, right? And
Mhm.
dealing with things like redlining, just coming out of slavery. Like there was no way we could keep up with that. I'm surprised many of
Mhm.
us are still here. Salute
Mhm.
the strength of that, because that change was crazy. That industrial revolution change was insane. So now we going into the automative, AI revolution,
Yeah.
which we always spoke about. I always heard about it, but now to see it and to realize other people are not seeing what I'm
Yeah.
seeing, I'm going like, yo, technically, Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, LinkedIn. Am I missing something? Snap, um,
Twitter.
Twitter. It's all really one AI,
Mhm. It's the fourth industrial revolution.
right?
This is what we're in the middle of, like literally.
Literally, we are
Yeah.
literally in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah.
And to be honest, many are ill prepared. Ill prepared. Like
We in
Forbes
bad
did an
shape.
article. I posted. Forbes did an article. It said the average black American,
Mhm.
the average person that considers themselves black in America by the year 2038 to
Mhm.
2045,
Mhm.
our wealth capital will be zero.
Mhm. I seen that.
Zero. But what we missed with that article, they said our employment rate will be our unemployment rate. I'm sorry, our unemployment rate will be like 70%. Now, I go, wow. if I if the what is our unemployment rate now? Somebody had a computer. Hold on, we gotta check this. Because I was mind blown by that though. I was really mind blown by that stat.
Just imagine that number, 2038, and what the crime rate going to be. Because, I mean, poverty breeds crime and violence, extreme violence. It brings it out of the most honest civilian or citizen.
Right.
So they create the environment to for this to be perpetrated in, and then just blame the people who's doing it. You know what I'm saying? And our people have a serious problem with poverty, and we deal with it in different ways, in dysfunctional ways.
So,
We trying to prove to each other. Go ahead.
right. So just real quick, not to cut
Mhm.
you off, G.
Go ahead.
We already at like 16, 20%. We have the highest.
Okay.
So now we looking at that, depending where we are, and we're already like 15 and a half. See, when I see numbers like 15 and a half, I just be like, that's 20%. So I just go up. I go like, nah, you gotta give yourself some leeway of where we are. Because it was impossible when I was reading that article that I said, yo, 70% of our people wouldn't have a job. But if we're already close to 20%, That's actually technically very possible. Because we're in 2021. They talking about 2038. 70%. We're basically going back into slavery. $0. 70% of the people don't have work or can't do something or don't have the skill access. Then what happens? Come work these farms, come pick these strawberries, come get this cotton or whatever, come get this hemp, right? Because hemp would probably be like a major thing. Hemp, marijuana. We're actually reverting back. That's my fear. Like when I was watching this and then just with certain stats, I was like, oh man, we going into like I'm pretty sure in ancient times we had our battles of tribal men and this, that, and the third. So we already probably had our own internal apocalypse. But we know for the fact transatlantic slave trade, all this crazy Arab slave trade, then the transatlantic slave trade, this will be like our fourth dynamic apocalypse. Because I always got to put it the first on us, as we was the only people on the continent fighting each other and fighting others, of course. But like, it all starts with the tribal infighting, so you always got to call it that first, right? Got to be accountable. But that Arab slave trade come, and then the European slave trade. I don't know why we removed the Arab slave trade. That's weird that we do that. Like we skip, like that goes whoop. But anyway. So we have our own internal feud in ancient times and just period, because that's what humans do, right? Seek power. Then we have then we have a very long time of peace with everybody eating and building. Then we got the Arab slave trade. Then we have the Euro slave trade, which opens up really technically with Alexander the Great. Like when the Ptolemies take over, when his general Ptolemy take over Kemet, really whitewash it. Second, is it second or third Cleopatra? White, this, that, and third Rome, and you know the routine. And then if you really follow from there, you can kind of really see like the African demise. It's kind of deep. And then how they used all of our stuff, right? Like, even if you look on they say if you see Alexander's the Great breastplate that he wore, he had Athena, and then he had because Xerxes or Cyrus the Great, he believed he had a matriarch god as his main thing. Alexander put that on him, and he put like I think all set from Kemet on him when he went through there. He was like, "Oh, word? All right, cool," on his armor. So he was basically just taking everybody's stuff and bringing it back. And that's how they got the knowledge of many people in their libraries, right? And then they flipped it for their own cultural use, which you're supposed to do, though. Like I don't visit the European section of a museum and go like, oh, I'm European. I go like, oh, I draw what would be the blackness out of it, the Africanness out of it, and then I just leave the rest. You know what I mean? So I can look at Athena and just go like, oh, that's Neith and Kemet, like that, and just make the correlation, the synchronicity of it. That's what really they was doing in ancient times. Not just, I don't want to say everybody took, but it was a lot of theft. Absolutely, there was a lot of theft, but it was a lot of synchronicity as people travel through the world. And that's why we can hear like Aristotle say something and you be like, that shit sound really black, because he learned it and then he just flipped it in his own tongue. You know what I mean? Because not every word has the same meaning, per se, from every tongue. But I was looking at these two videos. So if anybody can find these videos and just watch them, it'll really have your hair like this. It had me like this, King. I was like, this is dangerous. But it makes perfectly good sense.
It looks like I just seen something that says it's on Amazon Prime. Did anyone see that?
No, I didn't see that. But I'll look, because I got Prime, because only the third video comes up. Only the third one comes up on YouTube.
On Amazon?
No, on YouTube. Because
Okay.
I
Because I
posted
just typed
YouTube
in
video.
that thing, and the first thing that popped up that said episode 1, and then I just see Amazon Prime, and it says to watch it, click the button.
Okay, cool. So if it's on there, that's good. But I couldn't find it on any other web things I use. Because I posted it on YouTube because, I went right to PBS, right? I'm subscribed to PBS.
If you're hungry.
Huh?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when I went to PBS on YouTube, where I posted the videos from, they just disappeared.
Mm.
But only the third one, and the third one is like friendly. It's like, hey, it's fun. It's cool. It's the new wave. It was like very Sesame Street. The other two were like Terminator 1, Terminator 2. And I was like, oh, this ain't good though. Like it's good to a degree, but it's like, oh no, this is good. This ain't good. That's why I asked the questions. Like, this really looks like, one, it's gonna affect our youth. Two, it's going to change the dynamic of how Black adults got their money from government jobs. Three, it's going to change the dynamics of men who were young that went into prison and that changed their ways with like the trucking industry and other industries as well. So that puts us in a I always think of things very strategic in the essence of it. Somebody write in the chat to Khadija what's the name of the first video. But and I go like, wow, how does this affect us as a whole? That's why after watching this, I'm so glad I did a meeting because I ain't really know anyone to discuss this with, to be honest with you, without sounding crazy. Because if you do a basic Facebook post, it don't go nowhere. Like you get like one like, one comment. Whoa, that's crazy. But those don't build into no solutions. Like I know I gotta go see my elder Professor Smalls. He's recovering from knee surgery and everything like that. So I'm gonna go do some PT with him. And I'm gonna ask him, I'm gonna be like, yo, Baba, where do we go from here? He probably gonna look at me, young man, your generation gotta figure that out. Cause that generation going out the door. And I'm still gonna pick his brain to be like, I don't think we have, to be honest, my biggest worry is I don't think we have the community and the foundation to deal with what's about to happen.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
In order to deal with what's about to happen, the different school of thoughts, and me and you have discussed this before, the bickering that go on amongst us, the slandering has to come to an end, and we have to come to an agreement that economically we're so behind the 8 ball that we don't have time to bicker over, I won't say dogma, but what we subscribe to. Let's just say that. Whatever you subscribe to, that's fine, but that don't got nothing to do when it comes to commerce. And the fact that on a commerce level, we are in a game of chess is called being behind on time. So if my opponent pushes his pieces 20 times and I haven't even moved a pawn, Houston, we got a problem. That's where we are. So, and they took the queen off the board. So you playing super handicap, you behind on time. So, and it's divides like this. And
and then our
I
knights too,
understand.
we're behind because we don't even got knights to move. And our
Yeah.
bishops are doing what rooks are doing, and the rooks are trying to do what bishops do on our side of the chessboard. So I feel you.
Complete confusion.
Yeah.
So, when you playing like that, this is a world of competition, period, right? Everybody's competing for power.
And that's why
right?
we use the word race. That's why they use the word race.
That's the only race I deal with. I don't really deal with the other isms of race. Nope. And you know what? I'm not even mad at the European Anglo-Saxon because he don't have no land, he don't got no raw material, so he's doing what he's supposed to do. My anger is with us that we don't see it and we don't understand the aggression coming from not only him, but the whole world.
Right.
You know, nobody likes us. And I understand why, and you understand why, but we're not going to get into that right now. The
Right.
point is that they don't like us. And so they have to keep you disenfranchised and bickering with one another over foolery that has nothing to do with power, except, you know, this is what I subscribe to, and mine is better than yours. And you know who I'm talking about, but we ain't going to go there, right? So
Right.
it's just, and when you mentioned social media before.
Oh, hold on, because I'm gonna stop the recording, but I want to keep this going for like another 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, this is why, you know, we started the M.C.C team. You know, I started the M.C.C team because I want us to be like a dope investment group, and not just an investment group, but a think tank, right?
Yeah.
So when we see these issues, Millionaires Crew Club, we gotta have the discussion because there's so many great skills in our group at our hands. We really have to start being not just about money, but also about thought and solutions. And that's why, you know, I really love everybody in the Millionaires Crew Club. Please keep checking in, coming in, commenting. I'm gonna do a lot more you know, like open house stuff like that.